Hello, sweet friends. This is Gina. Welcome to the TheReBookery channel. I am so excited to share with you today all of the new fresh goodies that I'm going to have in my shop on Friday, May 17th at 7 p.m. Central Time. There's going to be journals. There's going to be some new items called book page bundles. And I've got some field guide kits, and I am just so excited. Oh, and some altered books. I am so excited. So let me start with field guide kits. How about that? So in my shop, if you go to the first page and you get overwhelmed by all of the things that are listed, because I get overwhelmed when I go to my shop and I see all the things that are listed. In the upper left-hand corner, there is a part that says sections. If you go down to those sections, that will be able to narrow your search so that if you're looking for journal ephemera, you can just go to my journal ephemera. If you're looking for page bundles, you can just go to book page bundles. So that might help as you're navigating. But in my journaling, I think this is going to be under journal kits. In my journal kits section, I'm going to have two special kits this month. These are going to be from field guides, so there's a lot of nature themes. I'm going to have two separate kits. One is going to be wildflowers and flowers, and the other one is going to be a birds kit. And so the way these kits will go is I've just taken all of my ephemera and books and papers and illustrations, cards, all that good stuff that I've collected throughout the years, and I've just kind of broken them apart and put them into kits. And so in each of the kits, you are going to get just a smattering of yummy goodness. I'm not going to show you the whole thing just because I have so much to show here, but when you get into my shop, I have detailed pictures of the listing. I show you what each piece will look like, and I also tell you in the listing more specifics about like how much they measure and things like that. But just a couple of things I want to point out is that I have been collecting, as many of you guys have, those little field guides. There's like the golden field guides, and then there's other brands, but those golden field guides are the really small ones. I love those, and I love using the pictures out of ones that are worn out. So I took some of my field guides and I've broken them apart, and I've given you guys pictures from those. Something in this wildflower kit that I'm really excited to share with you are these plastic, they're like garden tags. You would stick them in your garden and you would label whatever it is that you planted there. And I believe these are from Current, and I think that these are like 1980s, but I could be wrong. But they're nice and sturdy, and they'd be kind of cute to staple in your journal or use as a little bookmark. And I've got some playing cards, some vintage stationery that I've included, some different books about flowers that are like 8.5 by 11. Some are newer, some are older. And so in this kit, you are going to get a ton of stuff to use in your journaling if you want to journal about flowers or nature or your garden. The other kit that I'm going to have offered comes in a little bit smaller package, and this is a kit that is themed with birds. So again, what I've done is just taken all of my bird, let me see if I can get these out here, taken all of my bird cards and books and ephemera, all that good stuff, and I've just kind of broken it down into a nice collection of old and new, different field guides, smaller field guides, larger field guides. Some of them I've left the pages together so you could like put it in your journal and use as a fold out. You can cut them apart. Some of them, as this one right here, are as old as the 1920s. So there were these little teeny tiny field guides that I found at a sale a couple of summers ago, and they were from the 1920s, and I have like 3 of them. So I was able to pull 3 pages out of those and put 3 of these pages in each of the kits. And then some of the older golden field guides, some of the newer golden field guides, and just again a large array of just fun, eclectic bird field guide type of ephemera. And what's cool about this is that the field guides were already broken apart. So they were already, the spine was already broken, or the covers were damaged, or they were missing pages. So if you collect field guides, this removes the guilt of you cutting up your own field guides to use in your journaling, because I've already done that for you. So you don't have to worry about, you know, getting into your hoard of special field guides because you want to use a page in your journal. I've already done that for you by finding some old field guides that were broken apart and just gone ahead and put them into a collection. So these will be in my journal kit section. I have a new section that's going to be in my shop this time. This one is going to be called Book Page Bundles. So what I have done is I have busted into my hoard of vintage books, and I have a hoard. I have a huge amount of vintage books. It's been my thing as a teacher. That's just always been my thing, to hold on to the vintage books. As a collector, that's just been my thing. And so I've decided that they are not doing anything by just sitting on my shelves. And I love using books in my journaling. And just to show you, this is my planner, and so some of you guys have seen this planner before, but I love using book pages in my journaling. I mean, to me, that's my go-to. Book pages, wrapping paper. And so, you know, I have more books than I'll ever be able to use. And so I thought it's time to take them out of their covers that are damaged and the spines that are broken and some of the pages that are missing, and it's time to start putting them into bundles and getting them out there to other people so that you can enjoy doing journaling with book pages. And so again, the cool thing about this is you don't have to break into your vintage books, especially if you're a collector. I've already done that for you, and so you will just get an assortment of pages from these books. So I have, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got 2 baskets here. This basket has 8 different books where I've pulled page bundles, and then my other basket has like 10 different books. So I have a lot of books that I pulled from, and then each book I was able to get a different number of page bundles. It depends on like how many pages were actually in the book. So for example, this is some page bundles from a book called Wonder World, and it was a smaller book. It was an older book, 1950s, and I was only able to get 4 page bundles out of this. This book, as a lot of you guys have commented on, this was the Sunburst Vintage Reader. I think this was a 1983. It is hard to find. I tried to find some more because everybody was so crazy about them, and yeah, it's very hard to find. Hold on, I'll show you the cover. Here's the cover, and we had talked about this, people remembering that they would read out of this book. So I turned the cover into a journal, but what I did was I took the pages and I put them into bundles. And so for this particular book, I was able to get 9 bundles. So the way you guys will be able to purchase these is I have taken photographs of all of the bundles and I've numbered them. So when you decide that you want to purchase a bundle, you'll just go to the options and it will let you select what number you want to purchase. If somebody's already purchased that one, then it'll say that it's sold out. So like if somebody wanted Sunburst number 2, it'll say that it's sold out if somebody already has it. That was the best way that I felt like I could get them to you guys and still give you a little bit of choice in what you got. But just know that the only picture you will actually see is the front page. Everything else I have already pre-mixed and pre-arranged. And so just a little word about that. I treat my Etsy shop as if I was the shopper. And I know that's like one of the #1 rules you're not supposed to do, but I do, because my money is my money and I want to make sure I'm getting, you know, my money's worth when I purchase something. So when I went through and made all of these page bundles, please know that I spent a lot of time making sure each bundle had a perfect collection, a perfect mix of illustrations, of color, of text, and I did not slight any of these bundles. Every bundle I would be absolutely 100% satisfied getting if I was the customer. So just know I didn't slap these together. They have been very well mixed, and they've been very thought out as I tried to put these guys together. So these are gonna be, oh my gosh, there's gonna be so many. I hope you guys take some time and browse through and look at all of the pictures. I'll just show you some of the books that I have. This is a vintage reader assortment. So this is just an assortment of different books. Sorry, I'm outside, so you're hearing construction and kids playing and a motorcycle pulling up and birds. So hopefully you can still hear me. This is some vintage science books that I have. So I have a lot of science books that I was able to pull bundles from. Some are bigger, some are smaller, some are from the 50s, some are from the 70s or the 80s. This is, I'm super excited about this. So this is a book called Success with Houseplants, and I turned the covers into a journal, but I took, excuse me, I took the leftover pages and I was able to turn them into a page bundle kit. And so I have several of these guys, and their illustrations are fabulous. And I have 10 bundles of that. So anyway, I'm going to have lots of these page bundles. So please browse through that section. And you know, fill your cart full of all kinds of stuff. I always take whatever it is that you have purchased, if you've purchased multiple items, and I put them into a box or a package, and I will try to find you the cheapest rate that I can. And I will always refund your money if I can find a way that's cheaper to ship than what you paid through Etsy. So yeah, just know that I have your best interest at heart when you're purchasing these things, and you will have so much fun adding these into your journals. All right, let's talk altered books. So I've done several videos on how to alter a book, and you guys watched me alter this book and turn it into my current planner, which I am obsessed with. I love this. I love the size. I love that it's a book that's already been bound, so it wasn't one that was bound by me. There's something about working in an altered book that just, I don't know, gets me giddy. So I have 2 altered books that I'm going to be offering in my shop. And so this one I kind of showed a little bit earlier, I think, or maybe I did an Instagram post. I don't know. So this is a Foundations of Science. This was a biology book. And it just had the yummiest of pages. The pages were nice and thick, and they were matte, so you wouldn't have to glue them together. And so what I did on this one was I just removed half of the pages. I added some stability with some vintage sheets. So there's a couple of places where I have vintage sheets. And then I also have, let me see, hang on here. Also have a piece of vintage sheet right here. And then I went in and I just secured some of the gutters with some masking tape. So for an altered book, this is a very raw book. This is a book where you're going to take this and turn it into your own journal. So you are getting me doing all of the background work, and then you're going to get this raw journal that's ready for you to paint, to tape, to glue, to collage, to ink, to draw, to write, to do whatever it is that you want to do with an altered book. And so you can see that it's got that nice point where it comes down here, which shows you that I've removed a lot of the pages, so you'll have some room to bulk it up. So there's this one that will be in there. And then I also have this one. This is called 101 Science Experiments. I have 2 of these books. This was the better of the 2. So I've held on to this book for a long time. I thought I was going to use it as an altered book, but I've decided it's better off to go to a home with someone else. So you can see where I have removed quite a few of the pages. I think I've removed half the pages. So if you wanted to still remove more, you absolutely could. This book was in really good condition. So I did not have to tape anything. I did not have to add vintage sheets to anything. It is a tight, secure book. And let me tell you, these pages are delicious. They are thick, they are matte, they have a little bit of a texture to them, and they already have a lot of illustrations, so a lot of black and white, but then some pops of color. This would just make an amazing altered book. An amazing altered book. And like I said, if you wanted to remove some more of the pages, you absolutely could. You could tape the pages together if you wanted them to be thicker, although I'll be honest, I don't think you need to make them any thicker. If it was my book, I wouldn't, because they're already pretty thick. It'd be cool to run washi tape down the edges of this book and of this book, but you can do whatever you want. It's been ready to go, it's been prepped, and all you guys have to do is add your own stuff to it. So there will be 2 altered books, and I will have those in a section called Altered Books section. Now let's talk journals. So for this time out, I did something a little fun. I had a bunch of books because I like purchasing, I would rather purchase a book that's been damaged or that's been ripped or that's seen a lot of love than purchase a brand new in mint condition book, because to me those books just sit on the shelves, whereas ones that are damaged and stuff, those are the ones that we can use and repurpose. So I had a lot of these Telltale books and these Rand McNally Jr. Elf books that were in not so great condition. And one day I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna turn these into small 1 or 2 signature journals. And so I'm calling these guys discarded storybook journals, because these most people would have thrown away. So that's why I'm gonna go with the name discarded storybook. So I will have, let's see here, I have 2 Rand McNally Jr. Elf books. And so you'll see they have 2 signatures. They've been secured with book tape, fabric tape, and some paint. And these are gonna look well worn because they are. They've got writing in them, and then I will put in some fun eclectic papers for you to use in your journaling. So there's that one, there's the Jolly Jingle book, again 2 signatures, and then just full of a fun little array of papers. Oh, I think that's a little pocket there. I'm also cleaning out my file cabinets at work because I have to change classrooms. And so I've been finding a lot of my old teaching things that I just haven't used in years, and I have been including those in journals. So you might see a lot of nature stuff, conservation stuff in the journals this time, and I just thought that was kind of fun to throw those things in, because otherwise they were going to go in the recycling bin. So then these guys are Telltale books. And I have 2 of them that are 2 signatures, and then 3 of them that are 1 signature. So just kind of flip through. If I was able to use the actual book pages, I tried to. Some of them, because these were discarded, these were damaged, some of the book pages I wasn't able to use. So if there were book pages that maybe couldn't go in the book, I will just include them with the book. So if you purchased one and I wasn't able to make pages out of the book pages, I'll take the pages and I'll just put them on top of the book, and then you can use them for journaling. And I think I have extra pages for all of these guys, so you should get some extra pages when you purchase your journal. But like this one, you can see somebody did ink pen on it, so you know, people might have thrown this away, not me. I think it's perfect just like that. And so that just adds a little bit of character. And then this one, sorry, UPS truck is going by. This one is Johnny Appleseed, and it has 2 signatures. And so get a little bit more room in this one. So yeah, and I just used some of my favorite papers. This is an old, oh gosh, what was it? I don't think it was Missouri Conservationist. It might have been the Department of Natural Resources poster. I mean, it's really old. I think I got it my first year of teaching. So I use that, sorry, neighbor's dog. I use that in the journals. So those are gonna be my discarded storybooks. I have a very different book that I'm going to put in my shop this time. This is one that, this is a new one for me. So this is a travel journal, and it started off to be my travel journal, and then once I made it, I was like, oh, it's too cute. I think I want to put it in my shop. So again, I made it as if I was going to use it, so rest assured you are getting a really good journal if you purchase this. This was made out of an old social studies textbook, and then I used some vintage maps to cover it up, and then I just went over it with some paint, and then I sealed it all in with a clear sealer. It has one signature, and then on the inside I left this blank because in my mind I was thinking about if you go on a trip and you get all kinds of pamphlets and tickets and receipts, postcards, you would just want to put all of those things in here. And so I left a lot of blank space. So the way I made this book is I used file folders, I used wallpaper, vintage postcards. I have a large envelope to slip stuff in, some letterhead paper. This is just some sketchbook paper. And then here's the middle of the signature, and you can see the file folders I've joined together with a strip of vintage sheet. So they've all the pages have been put together with a strip of vintage sheet. And then here's the other half of that book, and the envelope has been put together with vintage sheet also. And just fun little fabrics. And here's another vintage postcard. I love the colors on that, and some wallpaper. And then here's the back, and this is a vintage sheet that goes down the center. So this would be a fun book to take if you were going traveling this summer. And it's lightweight, it's not too heavy, it's not too bulky, so it would be perfect to just like throw in your bag if you are headed out on a road trip or something like that. So there will be a travel journal in there. So, dipped into, again, my hoard of books. I grew up in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, and I was a public school kid. I learned how to read, like most people in America, through these reader books. Either it was Houghton Mifflin or it was Ginn and Company. Scott Forsman was another one. Harcourt Brace, I think, was one that came along later in the 80s. But if any of these look familiar, that's because we are the same age, and you may think fondly on these or not fondly on these, but I think dearly about these. So I turned these covers into journals, and these are simple journals. They're going to be, I think the most I have is 4 signatures, because I've kind of changed with my journaling. Me personally, I'm going with less is more, meaning a smaller journal has been working better for me, probably because I was in the little journal forever and it had all those signatures, and now I'm kind of downsizing, and I'm really liking the smaller size of a smaller, easy to carry around journal. So these guys are going to be a little bit smaller and a little more simple. So they're all kind of made with the same components. I'll just walk you through. I'll do Sunburst, and I'll just show you what I used. So I was thinking, because these guys were 80s and 70s, and they're, sorry about the dogs, there were so many bright, funky colors. I was thinking, let's tone it down a little bit with some neutrals and some black and white. So the wallpaper I chose for these books are going to be variations of black and white. There are some pages from that Success with Houseplants book, letterhead paper, some storybook paper that has Eloise Wilkin illustrations, some ledger papers, some old science book papers, some stationery scrapbook paper, and that'll take us to this next signature. Again, the wallpaper is going to be in a neutral color, some old book pages, letterhead. This is a pocket, ledger paper, stationery, scrapbook paper, and tried to give you a lot of white space, because my thinking was this: if you purchased a page bundle, a book page bundle, or you have your own book pages that you want to use, you don't want something that's going to be too loud and too contrasting. You want a lot of white space so that you can use these images in this text. So that was kind of my thinking, was to try to keep this pretty minimum and pretty sparse with the images so that you could supply your own. But every once in a while I would put something fun in there just to kind of get your little creative juices going. And yeah, and I used a lot of the book pages that didn't fit into the bundles. I would put them in the journals. So there you go. This is what the sunburst looks like. Now these are all going to be the exact same components. So you'll see the white and the black, the notebook paper, the storybook paper. The only difference is going to be what the cover is. Okay, and the scrapbook paper may be a little different too. There's again some worksheets that I had from my classroom. Some of that stuff is from like, oh my gosh, 25 years ago when I first started teaching. So yeah, that's what's going to be in these journals, and they lend themselves, so sorry about the dogs, they lend themselves to a lot of your own personality, but still has enough color and inspiration and images to get your juices going. This one is a science book, and again, same setup. Look at that paper, that is beautiful. Love that. And then this one right here, this was a little bit larger, so I was able to do 4 signatures on this one. And this was, again, that time period, the 1980s, 1970s. There were actually 3 of these. I still have 2 more that I can turn into journals, but this was the only one I got done this time. You can see it has some wear on it, which again is, that's my jam. That's what I kind of lean towards, are the ones that are already damaged and stuff. So same type of setup here, just a little bit different on the colors and the book pages. But yeah, you're gonna get basically the same things that you had in all the other journals. And like I said, for this one, this is a 4 signature book, so you get just a little bit more. Okay, so I do have a fabric book this time out. I had started making this a long time ago and then just set it aside and never finished it. So let me show you this. Now this is a bigger one. This has got 5 signatures, and you can see it's one of my soft covers with my squishy spine, so it's got a lot of room to grow. So how this started was some 1980s, like a polyester synthetic fabric, an old doily, some sort of a crochet, like a little coffee mug thing that you would sit your coffee mug on. Cut that in half, so there's one on the front, one on the back, some bits of fabric, and then check this out. This is just a negative from some photos. I don't even know what it was a picture of. This is from a vintage apron, and so I made the strings out of that. And then just some of my Aunt Vincie's napkins, some vintage sheet. And I love this. I love this layer right here because it just feels so good. Like when you're holding it, it just feels, it's very comfortable. So then check out the inside. The inside. So this is some vintage fabric. Now I know that this fabric is really expensive. I did not pay a lot for this fabric because I got it at a thrift store, but I have looked it up, and this is like some really highly collectible fabric, I suppose, if you're a collector of fabric. I am not. I just liked it because it was cool and I could tell it was vintage. So that's what it's backed in. And then check this out right here. This right here, this ruffle, this pink. You want to know where this came from? One of my favorite shirts that does not fit me anymore. And I love this shirt, and I loved it because it was pink and it had this lace and this ruffle, and it just, oh, I love this shirt. So I took the shirt apart and now it's part of this journal. This journal is a lot of fun. There's a lot of texture going on in this. So 5 signatures. Again, I used basically the same page setup. So you're gonna see a lot of the same things. Although on this one I did add a little bit more color just because this was one of my larger journals. But muted wallpaper, your ledger papers, these are pockets right here, some coordinating scrapbook paper, some of my old worksheets from my file cabinet at school, some stationery. In this one, I have a book that I found at a thrift store. It's a big Peter Rabbit book, and so I was able to use pages from the Peter Rabbit book in here, so you'll see a few of those. Some stationery pockets again. There's some more images from the Peter Rabbit. Yeah, this is fun. This is a lot of fun. It's got some envelopes that'll be folded out. Love it, love it, love it. Some old envelopes, newer envelopes. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, this is fun. This is going to be a fun journal, and this one will last you. This will last you a while because there are 5 signatures, and I can't remember if there are 16 pages per signature or 18 pages per signature. If you look in the description on Etsy, I will have all of the particulars, like the size and how many pages are in each signature and how many pages are in each book. I will have that in the listing in Etsy, so just make sure you take a look if you wanted to know down in the description, and it'll tell you. I love this fun little piece of fabric that I sewed on right there. And then yeah, there you go. There's my fabric journal for this time. The last journal I'm going to share with you guys is the last one I need to bind. I haven't actually bound this one. So this is the Success with Houseplants that I showed you earlier that I was able to make page bundles out of. This book has been sitting for a long time, and I just never knew what I wanted to do with it. I mean, I've probably had this book for 3 years, and it's just sitting there. And I knew I wanted to do something, and I just couldn't figure it out. So I'm gonna make this. This will be a 3 signature book. I just haven't bound it yet. I started off making it 4 signature, and it was too big, and you wouldn't be able to add your own stuff. So I pulled out one of the signatures and made it 3, and that's gonna give it a lot of room for you to add your own stuff. This is what makes the journal usable, is the fact that it makes this shape right here. If your journal makes this shape right here, then you know you're gonna have a lot of longevity in this journal, and you're going to be able to use it, and you're going to be able to put lots of photos and ephemera and fabric and things like that because you'll have room to grow. So in the signatures, again, following the same page design, I used black and white wallpaper, but this time I kind of played a little bit on a gardening theme. Not too much, so you don't have to use this for a garden journal, but there are quite a few images of plants and stuff. Check this out. I took the pages, oh, now that's my dog barking. I took the pages from the book, and I actually stitched them together so that you could have those pages in your book. Here's some stuff from my file cabinet at school. Oh my gosh, all the dogs are barking. I'm so sorry. Some Peter Rabbit pages again. Ledger paper. There, I shut the door. Now we can't hear him. Stationery and scrapbook paper. So there's one. Here's another signature. So there's your book page again. Ledger paper. Here's a calendar page from April 1977. Letterhead, book page. This is flocked, so it has a lot of texture. I did a lot of sewing of the pages, so did a lot of page sewing, envelopes. Look at that image. That would be awesome to do some sort of a garden spread over on this side facing this page right here. That would be so cool. And then the last signature, so black and white wallpaper again. These are pockets. And then just the basic setup. I had some cactus paper, and I thought this would be perfect to use because a lot of people have cacti as their houseplants. And so I thought that would be kind of cute. So yeah, there you go. So this I am going to get bound, and this will be also in my shop too. Whew, that is a lot of stuff I have in my shop. Okay, so let's recap. We've got field guide kits, we've got birds, and we've got wildflowers, and there will be more to come. I've got tons of field guides. I just didn't have time to make any more kits. So if you don't get one this time, no big deal. I will have more coming up. We've got book page bundles, probably 18 different books that I've pulled the bestest of the best pages and put them into bundles so that you could use them in your journaling. We've got discarded storybook journals that are going to be small and very portable, 1 signature and 2 signature. We have a travel notebook or a travel journal, and then we have all of my vintage reader journals, and the fabric journal, and then what's the last one? Oh, the last one is Success with Houseplants. Whew, that's a lot. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some cool ideas. Remember, my shop will be open on Friday, May 17th at 7 p.m. Central Time. And I'm going to plan on packing and getting everything ready to go so that I will make a trip to the post office on Monday. That will be my first day to ship out. And then typically how things go is if you purchase something from me, I will try to get it in the mail that day. If not, it'll go out the very next day. All right, I hope you're healthy. I hope you're happy. And oh, one last thing. Remember these when I used them on my last video and I was drawing the shapes? I have a ton of these. So as a free gift for anybody that purchases from my shop this weekend, I will include one of these stencils until they're all gone. And I have a ton. So yeah, expect this if you place an order, whether it's $100 or it's $10 or whatever. I will include one of these stencils. They're nice and lightweight, so it shouldn't add too much to the shipping, and you can use this in your journaling. All right, guys, I hope you're healthy. I hope you're happy. I hope you do something creative today. Bye.